In my last year in college, I was dating a woman named B. That's not her name, or initial of her name. Now, B was an incredible woman. I mean, really, she really was. She was a woman, she would go on to get a PhD from one of the top 3 universities on the planet. Not only was she brilliant, she was charming, in a kind of like an understated kind of way. Charming and very witty, and very quiet, you know. In terms of her looks, she was, I would say, like a 7 on a 10 scale, maybe a 7.5. I mean, she wasn't that gorgeous when you looked at her picture, but when you met her in person, she was magnetic. She exuded this aura of sensuality that was very, very provocative. And she and I matched up incredibly well insofar as our tastes were concerned, insofar as what we liked. We liked the same books, the same movies, the same music. We liked doing the same things on a weekend. We got to the point where we could finish each other's sentences because we saw the world in such a similar way. We were perfect for one another and we broke up. We were totally compatible and yet we broke up. There was one tiny little problem. We wanted different things out of life. She wanted a corporate career. And she saw her life very clearly as getting a PhD and then working at a university and climbing the academic ladder until she got to full tenure. That's what she wanted to do. And me, I wanted to go to Hollywood and try my luck there and just, you know, see what was out there. I didn't have any fixed idea as to where I was going. I just wanted to, you know, go out there and, you know, live life, you know, almost at random. And she couldn't understand that. She obliged me to go to the investment bank recruiting seminar, meeting, whatever it was. I forget what it was called, but anyway, it was basically a chance for, you know, college seniors to meet with recruiters from this big-time investment bank. I got called to a second meeting, and after that second meeting, they wanted an interview, right? And I blew it off, and she freaked out. B just had a fit that I'd blown off that meeting. She couldn't understand it. She said, "Why are you doing that? You can be a millionaire by the time you're 30. You just have to go there, meet with these people, get the job, and you're set. Why did you blow it off?" And I said, "I just don't want to work at a bank. I don't want to work, you know, 100 hours a week, you know, at some bank. I want to go to Hollywood and see what happens." She couldn't understand that, and we broke up, of course. She didn't want children, I wanted children. She wanted a corporate life, I did not want a corporate life. She wanted to live forever in the United States. I was thinking that it was time to maybe leave the United States, as eventually I would. You know, we wanted totally different things. I mean, she wanted to go in that direction and I wanted to go in that direction. But we were totally compatible. If I'd been foolish enough to marry this woman, we would have divorced long ago, or I would have been completely miserable, or she would have been completely miserable. We fit, we got along, we could finish each other's sentences, but we didn't want the same things out of life. In our society, it's consumeristic society. We think that compatibility is the way to go. We have to be compatible with somebody else, right? Bullshit. Fuck that noise. But you see, that's stupid. That's sort of like the way you would pick a car. You pick a car based on the qualities that that car has, right? Because it's going to satisfy certain needs that you have. And that's why you purchase that car as opposed to that other car, right? Don't look for a woman with whom you are compatible. Look for a woman who shares your same goals, the same life goals. Because there's a cliche that life is a journey. Well, it's a cliche for a reason. It's a stupid cliche, but it's an accurate cliche. Life is a journey. And you are going to your destination. You are choosing where you want to go and you're going there. If you are with somebody who wants to go that way, what do you think is going to happen? It's going to be a fucking disaster. If I'd gone and worked at that bank, I would have been miserable. I would have resented her, hated my life. Maybe I would have been a millionaire by the age I was of 30, as she insisted I would be. Maybe I would have. But I would have been miserable. I would have been sitting on top of a pot of money and been totally miserable for what? For nothing. She wanted that life and I wanted that life. And of course we were compatible, but it would have ended in ruin. You don't want somebody who's totally compatible with you insofar as their qualities. You want somebody who has the same objectives in life, but perhaps views the world differently than you do. A woman who is just like you will have the same weaknesses as you. A woman who is just like you will have the same strengths as you. And that can lead sometimes to rivalry. With B, for instance, we were both very, we had a rivalry, academic rivalry. We were both writing our theses at the time, and we both had to submit our theses at roughly the same time. It was different subjects, but what happened was that we started competing with one another because we were so similar. You don't want that. Not with your woman. You don't want to be competing with her. You want her to be complimenting you. You want her to fill in the gaps in who you are. Ignore this whole notion of compatibility. Ignore this whole notion of like, you got to get along with your partner. That does not matter. What matters is you want the same things out of life. Once you have agreed to that, everything can be fixed and everything will fall into place. If you do not have that, it doesn't matter how much you like one another. It doesn't matter how much you love one another. When I broke up with B, I was a crying little bitch. It broke my heart. I mean, it really did. And I have never met anybody since then with whom I got along with so well. But had we continued together, I would have been miserable as I know I would have made her.